Hi everyone, Harpit this side. In this video, we'll create the environment file, the configuration file, and the securities file for our project. Let's get started. We'll just create a .env file. As you can see, it already shows a different symbol for this particular file. So this is just an environment file, and we'll be storing all the global variables over here. So the first variable will be the API key. For now, let's just keep it as simple as demo key. You do not really need to uh, make use of this over here. It already is storing it as a text. And then JWT secret key equals to secret. Again, something basic. Then we have Redis URL. Now, Redis URL could be /0. For this, you've got to check which particular port it is running on. So what I can do is I'll check on the internet, check all running ports in Linux. So when you have a lot of services running, you need to make sure that you're selecting the right port. You don't want to send wrong signals, the wrong ports. Let's see. We have something at, yes, we have 6379. Most probably this is Redis only because by default it's that. But just to make sure, what we're going to do is check all running ports and their services. Basically, we'll check in which port what service is running. Here we are. This Docker. Okay, I have this running in Docker. So apparently I need to check my Docker file, but I'm pretty sure that it's one of the Dockers only. So yeah, you just make sure that the Redis you're running on the correct port is entered over here. Yeah, that's it for the environment file. Next, we're going to make the configuration file. Now, to create this config file, first of all, we'll need to create an app folder, and within this app folder, we will have core. Now, within this core, we need to create a file called underscore init.py. So what's going to happen is if you do not create this file, this will act as a directory. But when you create this file, it will act as a package itself. Now we'll create config.py. Now config.py is very necessary for us to load the environment variables as a class. And what we're going to do is we will import OS first, and then from .env import load.env. So as the name suggests, oh, my bad. As the name suggests, .env is used for accessing .env files, and this is a module within it. So now what we're gonna do is load.env. Yeah, simply call this function. Now what it's gonna do is it's gonna load the environment files and the environment variables. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna create a class and call it settings. And as you can see, it's already suggesting us to create these variables. So before going ahead, I'll just write project name is a string, and it's called WineMeUp. It is necessary that you keep such things to make it very readable to the user, as well as if somebody else wants to create something, they might be able to do it. So API key, yes, this is something what we want to include. So strings, os.getInv, API key, absolutely correct. But there is one thing I also would like to add is dummy key. So what happens is, let's say this particular function doesn't find this input. So what it's gonna do is, by default, it's gonna create something else. So I'll write safe default key. Yeah. Similarly, we'll import JWT secret key, strings, os.getInv. Of course, it's JWT secret key, safe default secret. And JWT algorithm, we will just give it as HS256. So what did I do over here? JWT algorithm basically is telling you which particular algorithm would you use to encode algorithm, use to encode your data. I would rather use double quotes. It's safer that way. Next is Redis URL, localhost. Awesome. This is done. I really love the fact that AI is helping me write a major chunk of my code. So I just have to focus on the stuff that is more important, basically orchestration and everything. So models directory. What is models directory? So there is a directory we will store all our models inside, and from there itself we will load it. So for now, I'm just gonna hard code it, call it app, and inside apps there's gonna be models, and then model name. When you're loading it, I want it to be there by default. So there is a default model that we would want to hold. It's called app. No, not Aam Party. Instead of pickle, I would rather use joblib because that's what I started with. Joblib and model path is join model name. Yeah. So by default, it is default model dot joblib, but going forward, we are going to be creating a lot of models. So just to ensure that all the models are selected according to what we have selected in the front end, we just want to keep it as a variable. And now what we're going to do is we'll also write env string development. So basically going forward, when we're going to write the development files, this way we'll know where to get our env files as well. Now let's create a class. What it's gonna help us do is it'll help us choose the model and change it accordingly when we need it later on. So we'll write class method and def set model name. So we will write CLS name. It's a string. Oh, name is a string that returns none. Yes. So next what we're gonna do, we're gonna write CLS dot model name is model name is something that we will enter later on, and then what we're gonna write CLS dot model path equals os path dot join CLS model dir CLS model name. Okay, it's asking me to change it to set. I had written Ceph. So this is done. Then we will write settings equals settings. We will load that up, and yeah, that's about it. We will save this file. Next, we are going to write the securities.py file. To create the securities.py file, we'll just click on new file, security.py. Awesome, it's going to be inside the core folder only. And from date time import date time delta and then time zone. Then we are also going to import from Jose import JWT and JWT error. So basically this is for JWT encoding. Then from app.co.config import settings. Settings are the ones just we created. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a function for generating the token. So def create underscore token will have data. Inside this data we'll pass on a dictionary. And then we will also pass on expired minutes. So expired minutes is basically the time you would want to wait for the token to expire. I'll just keep it 30 and it's gonna pass on a string. I'm very much tempted to just press tab and move on, but yeah, let's code it. Every time I write the code, I am in a better uh, position to understand what's happening, as well as the habit of typing doesn't go away. So encode equals data dot copy. So to encode is basically the variable that's going to store the data itself, which is going to get encoded. And instead of working on data directly, I created a copy of it. Then we will write expire equals to date time dot now time zone UTC. So expire is basically when is it going to expire. So now plus the time delta that we had decided earlier. So it's going to be, it's 11:22 right now. So it's going to be 11:52 time delta when it's expired minutes. Awesome. And then to encode update, since we had created yes, since we had created this variable inside which the copy of this dictionary was stored, we would create another key inside it named exp. So basically when it's expiring, and then now we're going to pass it on into encode JWT. Now encode JWT is a variable which is going to store the JWT encoded section. So JWT encode. Now, first things what we're going to pass is to encode the data itself, which is going to encode. Next, we're going to pass on a key. So by default, I would use JWT secret key, which is stored inside settings. And now we will also give in the algorithm, which is going to be used for encoding. So if you do not type in the key, it's going to cause issues. Now I'll just return the encoded JWT. That's it. Now I will also write def verify token. We have created a token. We also need a function to verify this token itself. String, it will, doesn't matter what it's returning because it is pay try. We don't really know if it's gonna work or not. So we'll try payload equals to JWT decode. We'll pass in the token itself, the one we take in as input. Settings, this is the key. So it should be the same key that we used for encoding. And then algorithm, settings JWT algorithm. Ensure you're passing this algorithm inside an array, otherwise it's going to throw an error. It's just made that way. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to return the payload itself. And if that doesn't work, we'll just throw a JWT error and then we'll return a none. That's it. Okay, now that we have our security config and env file ready, I just have to test it. So I'll add it to terminal. First of all, let's go to that environment. So conda activate WineMeUp. That is done. Now, had it been a normal particular Python file, you would have just written Python 3 and the file's location. But this is an app module. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna write python 3-m app.core.con config. It runs. And similarly, security. Just to check if it's running or not, what we're going to do is sprint to sprint 3. Ideally, this is not how it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to write if name equals to main and then write it, but I'm just lazy. I'll remove it. See, 2 is there, 3 is there. Now, why do we have 2, 3? Because once we also call a config file, so every time this file is called, it will print this. If we do not want that to happen, that is why we are going to use if name equals to main. It's going to ensure that the uh, content inside the main file is only displayed when you call it explicitly and not when you're importing it. It's done. Also, I did make a mistake initially when I started. I did not notice that I had created the init file within core and not app. So ensure the init file that you're going to create, it's within this particular app itself. So this is done. We'll just commit the changes. Yes, commit 1. You're not supposed to write commit messages like this, but hey, I'm just lazy. Sync changes and it should be done. Yeah, it's done. Next, I am going to check it over here. Awesome. We have this app folder over here. We have core, and within core, we have config and security. Now, outside app, we should have seen an env file, but we are not seeing it. And that is because of the git ignore. So within git ignore, I'm pretty sure there is some place where we've placed .env. Here it is, .env. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.